What's going on, guys? My name's Neeb. Welcome back to AROMATIX. We're going to be talking about affordable fragrances that are not clones. So these aren't really that frequent or common, I should say, anymore. Most fragrances that come out nowadays in this cheapy realm aren't unique, and they're just straight up clones. These are fragrances that I don't find to have cloned anything. They're kind of unique in their own scent, and they're absolutely beastly performing stuff. All of these have lasted to the next day on clothing. Most of these you could still find today, and quite a few of these you've probably heard about before because really not that common, or wasn't that common once upon a time, to get beastly performance with cheapy fragrances. Starting things off with hitting that subscribe button, and this first fragrance that kind of throws me back to the 90s. For a lot of people that might be a turnoff almost immediately, but for me it's actually something I really enjoy. I have to be in a particular mood for it, but nevertheless it's good. It's Hanimori's HM. So HM is mostly about like this lemon, a lot of florals, some spices, and it has a pretty hefty dose of lily of the valley. And that's kind of the factor that takes this one into that whole 90s vibe, but it's not off-putting for me. It's a very stand out. The lemon is definitely there, and it's softened up by this soapy vibe as well. And there's a pretty hefty dose of this powdery styled rose. As this one starts to dry down, you're gonna start picking up more of this vanilla, dark chocolate, and sandalwood creamy woods. But don't pick this up looking at just that dry down. The dry down looks absolutely intoxicating. So that dry down is everything, but the top is so significant that it completely changes the expectations, or the reality versus the expectation. The top of the blackcurrant and lemon is very prominent. It's astringent, it's kind of bitter as well. And then you get a pretty hefty dose of like this old school style lavender, green nuances with, like I said, the rose and the lily of the valley. If you can get past the first like couple minutes of the opening, then you will be like in the heart of and the best parts of the fragrance in itself. It smells really good, and it smells even better in the air. I do have to emphasize that I personally do get like this 90s vibe from it, but in every good way. Now the performance. This will last for days on clothing, and it will not go anywhere. It is a particular or specific taste, I should say, so you have been warned. The projection, you're gonna be leaving scent trails everywhere. Occasions for this, it's like special events and probably dates. Best seasons for this is gonna be the spring and the fall time, potentially even the winter, because it does have the strength to get you through that. And that's pretty much it. It's called HM Hanimori, basically. Moving on to the next one, this is Mercedes-Benz Club Black. This also lasts to the next day on clothing, and it's a very simple, straightforward vanilla resins, ambroxan, and some incense. Warm, ambery, it's very clear cut, and one of the best affordable vanilla fragrances. The prices have definitely hiked and skyrocketed up after its hype, basically, but it's a pretty damn good fragrance. And in its realm and price point, one of the best. Performance to the next day on clothing. Projection, it's like moderate, about 2 feet, so don't expect crazy projection. In terms of the occasions, you can hang out, you can go out, you can wear this every single day, very specifically during the fall and the winter time. The springtime, I would say potentially early days of the spring, but nothing more than that. Dates and stuff, this is everything and some in terms of like looking for the vanilla fragrance. It's good, but like I said, the price point sometimes has been upwards of like 60 bucks. If you're looking for one of the better performing ones though, it still definitely is that. On to the next one. I believe this one was discontinued. It's a little bit harder to find, but it still was one of the best performing and shadowed fragrances for a long time. It's nothing spectacular, and I can see why they discontinued it, but it's still really good in its performance. This is Burberry Brit, and it's the Intense. The Intense is exactly that. It's got a lot of notes: mint, leather, tonka bean, some spices, along with raspberry. It's a really good fragrance actually, but it does smell very designer-esque in the fact that like sometimes, you know, they were doing too much at once and it would just smell like a mush. It does have that mush vibe, but it's very good at the same time. The spices, the cardamom, the peppers, the leather, it's sweet, it's crisp, it's herbal, it's fresh, spicy. There's so much going on with it, but that in itself turned it into just a mush of a fragrance. The projection and performance though is extremely nuclear, days on clothing, and the projection is also, it's a room filler with this one. For the occasions with this, I would have personally said dates and special occasions, just because it's very strong, and the seasons is strictly fall and the winter time. The Burberry Brit original was a signature scent of mine for a long time. It was a good smelling fragrance in its era, and this one was just beastly. It was too strong for me at that time, so take it for what you will. If you're looking for the longest lasting, it definitely is exactly that. On to the next one. It's still available. It's a great fragrance. It's called Salvatore Ferragamo F Black, not the original one. This has striking resemblances to La Nuit de l'Homme, but I would not call it a clone or anything like that, because it does take things a little bit more old school, if you will. It increases the barbershoppy vibe from increasing the lavender and also the black pepper, giving it a more mature feel overall. It lasts beastly for the next couple days on clothing, and the projection is pretty damn strong, so be careful with the trigger this one. At the price point, it's 100% worth it, but like I said, it is more black pepper and more lavender. The occasions for this can be hanging out with the bros, almost cracked these. Hanging out with the bros, going to the office, keep your sprays moderate, dates, and even during special events. Seasons though, fall, winter, and that's really all I would say. Even earlier days of spring maybe, but for the price point, this is a great one to go with and lasts all freaking day. On to the next one is white florals, orange blossoms, some ambers, and woods. It's called Altamir by Ted Lapidus. If you like fragrances like YSL Myself and all of these other fabric softener vibes, this is the one to go with that lasts all day in the cheapy realm. A hidden gem, if you will. It's a great one. It's been talked about very infrequently, but now that orange blossom is coming back in with YSL Myself, Gucci Guilty Elixir, the whole Altair style Dia Days, this one utilizes that same note, gets a lot of attention and compliments, and it smells really good. White florals, a little bit of this ambery richness to it that's going to be perfect for the cooler weather. Performance for this is days on clothing. Projection is also moderate, I would say at the high end of 3 feet. Occasions can be hanging out with the bros, signature scent during the fall and the winter time, and that's pretty much it. But it also works for something like a date or a special occasion, so every single day. Price point, this is one of the best ones, especially for the longevity. On to the next one. It was a signature scent of mine during the fall and the winter time as well, and even during the earlier spring. This is Salvatore Uomo. Uomo has tiramisu, ambroxan, a lot of citruses, some peppers. It's a great fragrance, man. The performance of this one lasted for a day on clothing, and the projection of this is a room filler for the first hour and a half. I love this stuff. I always have it in my collection, and the occasions was an everyday thing for the fall, the winter, and early spring. Absolutely a must-have. At its price point, I'll still grab it. You can usually find it for like 55 bucks. No brainer. Where's my drink? And since we're already talking about Salvatore, this is Uomo Signature. It's the leather version. It's much bolder, much darker, and much richer. It actually, for me, for a long time was a little bit too much. It was a little off-puttingly too much. But as time has progressed, I've started to fall in love with a little bit more of that dark leather vibe, and it kind of takes the same scent profile, adds like this very thick incensey leather and orris. So you have been warned, it's very thick. The scent profile is tiramisu, but leather forward, and more than anything, the leather and the pepper. Performance is days, and projection is all over the freaking place, man. But the occasions for this is going to be special events, dates, and seasons, winter only. One thing that I noticed is that Salvatore does a lot of great affordable fragrances at the price point. They have a crown. Actually, they might have the crown for affordable, but also long lasting. On to the next one. This is Dylan Blue. This is the scent profile you can take and signature scent all year round and get the performance. I spray this on about 7 to 8 times, and I'm set all day. It's ambroxan, it's citruses, it's peppers, it's a little bit of incense. Yes, it does have an incensey spice vibe, but it smells fantastic in the air. Not one that I go up close and sniff, but nevertheless, it gets me compliments while in the air. Obviously, it's not gonna be, hey, compliment me, no. So performance for this one, like I said, it's beastly for me. It lasts to the next day on clothing, and it projects is room filling, at least for me. I spray it on, like I said, 7 to 8 times, gentlemen. In terms of the occasions, every single day, and the seasons, every single season. That's the beauty of this one. You can wear it in every single season. On to the next fragrance. This is also by Versace. Actually, the last two are by Versace. So I guess you could say that Versace gets discounted at great prices, and so does Ferragamo. This is Eros Flame. Eros Flame lasts, like, I would say, above 10 hours, maybe not next day. It gives me like 12 hours. That's still beastly for me, is 10 plus hours. So Eros Flame, it's pretty damn beastly. I would say that Eros Parfum is as well, but for me, my choice would be Eros Flame. Eros Flame is fresh, spicy, a lot of citruses, some vanilla, and basically an aromatic-based fragrance. Smells really good, attention-grabbing, and the best Eros that's out there, period. Performance, like I said, I get about over 10 hours for sure, and the projection for the first 3.5 hours is phenomenal. I get moderate 2.5 to 3 feet. The occasions for this is also every single day. You can wear this every single day in every single season, and it's one of the best long-lasting ones for sure. You can still find it on discounters today, which makes it an excellent pickup. No-brainer for sure. On or down to the last fragrance, you guys. This is called Versace Oud Noir. And this smells a lot like oud wood, but it does have its own vibe. It kind of is more peppery or musky, I guess you could say, the whole woods and ambers, and it basically smells like a westernized oud-based fragrance. It smells opulent, it smells like money. I personally like more animalistic, but if you're on the fence and trying to get into something safe, this is a great one to go with. It does last for days on clothing, and it projects for moderately, I would say, about 2 feet, but for a long time. The occasions for something like this, special events, dates, bros, but the seasons for this would be the fall, the winter, and early spring, and that's it. I wouldn't try and push it to the mid-spring or end of spring. It's long-lasting, it's great. These are the top 10 7 long-lasting fragrances that you can get today, some of which you can't really get today, but they were worth mentioning because they were just nuclear performing stuff. Make sure to stay tuned, leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys again in the same exact list in about 6 or 7 months or so. So until then, peace.